Welcome to Diplomatic Passport on this Monday, that COVID-19 show where we give you daily, weekday updates on the current affairs of the nation with regards COVID-19. My name is Robert Mkondiwa. Now today, as always, we should start with giving you a bit of information with regards where we stand as a nation and the figures as availed to us by the Ministry of Health and Childcare. Now, Zimbabwe's numbers, as released by the ministry, stand at 2,512 confirmed cases, including 518 recoveries and 34 deaths. 78 new cases were recorded yesterday. These are 4 returnees from South Africa and 74 local cases who have all been isolated. To date, the cumulative number of people tested stands at 119,866 people. Harare is still the epicenter with 685 cases, followed by Bulawayo, which now has 560 cases of COVID-19. Now, the local number of cases has been rising at a disturbing rate. Mpilo Central Hospital Acting Chief Executive Dr. Solwayo Ngwenya has recommended an intensive testing drive, saying that this was the only way to know the extent to which the virus has spread, as some are actually dying in their homes only to be declared COVID-19 casualties after a post-mortem. Now, testing is key as it will allow for an informed approach as we deal with this problem. Now, let's hear Dr. Ngwenya speak.
Fortunately, most of my warnings have not been taken very seriously in the past 4 months. Now the virus is spread out in the community. It actually could be worse because we're not doing a lot of testing. There could be many people infected, and they are continuously infecting other people. And we are also seeing that people are actually brought to hospitals already dead, dying in their own homes. And this will be the next catastrophic event that we are going to see, that people will be dying in their homes, sudden collapse, sudden death. And I did warn about this a couple of weeks ago.
Now, Zimbabwe's parliament has suspended business after 2 legislators and a journalist tested positive for COVID-19. Speaker of Parliament Advocate Jacob Mudenda confirmed this morning that the legislators were part of a delegation of the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Transport who were on a field visit across the country. The driver of a bus hired by the legislators for the visit also tested positive for the virus. Now, the identities of the 4 have not been disclosed.
We're showing some signs of infection. All members were tested, and the 2 members tested positive. Plus our driver of the bus and the reporter who had accompanied them. Other committees that were supposed to travel to the eastern borders had to be cancelled. Their trip had to be cancelled.
Now, our reporter Takuzwa Chihambakwe was at the Parliament buildings today to find out more information.
Shut down. As you can see behind me, the doors are closed and business has been suspended. On a normal day, this place will be buzzing with various parliamentary portfolio committees in session. But today the narrative is different because 2 legislators and a journalist tested positive for COVID-19. What we've been told so far is that those that have tested positive are at an isolation center in the CBD here in Harare. We will keep you updated with what's happening. But what this means is that there is going to be a postponement to the beginning of the probe into the 2019 ZESA forensic audit, which is supposed to commence today, spearheaded by the Public Accounts Committee. So it is now clear as daylight that the COVID-19 pandemic is now in our midst, and we now have to be diligent.
Elsewhere, the World Health Organization Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus said that as long as COVID-19 is circulating, we are all at risk. He called on everyone to treat the decisions about where they go, what they go to do, and who they meet with as a life and death decision, which is literally the case in this instance.
asking everyone to treat the decisions about where they go, what they do, and who they meet with as life and death decisions, because they are. It may not be your life, but your choices could be the difference between life and death for someone you love, or for a complete stranger. In recent weeks, we have seen outbreaks associated with nightclubs and other social gatherings, even in places where transmission had been suppressed. We must remember that most people are still susceptible to this virus. As long as it's circulating, everyone is at risk. It's all about making good choices. Know your situation. Do you know how many cases were reported where you live yesterday? Do you know where to find that information? Do you know how to minimize your exposure? Are you being careful to keep at least 1 meter from others? Are you still cleaning your hands regularly? Are you following the advice of your local authorities? Don't expect someone else to keep you safe. We all have a part to play in protecting ourselves and one another.
Of course, we've always been talking about issues to do with people's welfare, and of course in COVID-19 a lot of people have seen their incomes diminish and have had to face the urgent possibility of starvation. Now, with that in mind, over the weekend we traveled to Mzarabani, where the Igel Foundation was donating to the elderly and the orphaned in that area. Now, the Igel Foundation representative Adam Wadi said that they have been donating food hampers and wheelchairs all over the country in an effort to cushion those who are in need, of course, and who have been affected by the lockdown.
The lockdown, we have been targeting the old-aged people, the disabled, the orphans, and the widows across the country. And we have been doing these distributions of food hampers to these people across the country because of the lockdown and the coronavirus, which has affected many people. So we have seen it necessary that we donate these food hampers to those people who are less privileged in the society during these hard times. This is why we started to embark on these programs of food hampers across the country. Also, we are doing these programs of food hampers as a way of showing the solidarity that do exist between the Turkish government and the Zimbabwean government.
Now, a church elder, Elson Kamurio of the United Methodist Church in Mzarabani, expressed gratitude at this gesture by the Igel Foundation. He said this will allow his congregants to focus on other things and not worry about their next meal.
Ndinofara neprogramu yandaona iripo nhasi yauya nhasi inini salelidha wepanapa pachechi patiri panapa. Ndinonzwa kusununguka nekufara kana ndichiona vanhu vachiitirwa zvinhu zvakafanana nezvizvi, nekuti ndo zvinhu zvatinogara tichiparidza kuti kune vanopa, kune vanoita sei. Saka kana vanhu vachinge vaitirwa nyasha dzakadai naMwari, ndinonzwa kusununguka, kufara kwazvo salelidha kuti aiwa vanhu vandinozonge ndakuparidzira shoko wakagutishwa, wakadya wakaguta. Saka shoko rinopinda kwavari, nekuti kana aine nzara ukada kuti utaure kuti dai vaziva Mwari anongokutaura kuti zvavakutaura zviya imwe nyaya. Saka ndinongofara neprogramu yandaona nebasa rese raitwa panapa. Dai Mwari wakaropafadza, maoko abviswa, zvirambe zvakadaro kuitira namangwana zvisaperere pano, zvirambe zvichingopfuurira mberi zvichingoitwa. Mwari vari mubatsiri wenyu.
Now again, if you're only just joining us, this is Diplomatic Passport on Zim Papers Television Network. And if you want to comment on those and other stories that we're carrying today, feel free to get a hold of me on my Twitter handle @ZimRobbie, that's ZIMROBBIE, or my email address, robinkondiwa@gmail.com. And of course, you can keep giving comments here on our social media platforms. Of course, George Kassam, Dr. Roo Godimavunga, thank you so much for joining us, and we're actually following the fact that you are keeping glued to hear where we stand as a nation with regards to COVID-19. Now, still in Mzarabani, one of the beneficiaries, who is a horticulture farmer, say that the lockdown has affected her market as people are not working, hence impacting negatively on their buying power.
Personal, generalize. Mararamiro andiri COVID total lockdown. Pane zvakawanda zvadzikisirwa nazvo zvatiri kutadza kuti kunyatso kuchibatsiridza. Asi inini hangu pandinogara padhuze neparwizi, saka ndiri kurarama negarden. Saka ndiri kuita hangu chehorticulture. Saka zviri kunditibatsiridza, asi ndichitarisa hangu kune vamwe pane pakaoma kuti ndidarika wenyewe. Chinonetsa ndechekuti market yacho iri down because vanotenga vachona mabasa avo vazhinji vamwe they are self-employed, saka vasi kukwanisa kuita mabasa avo.
Now that's all from me here at Diplomatic Passport, and of course the key story there today coming from us is the fact that parliamentary business has been discontinued because 2 parliamentarians and a journalist have tested positive for COVID-19, and it's really now hit very close to home as the one arm of government has been paralyzed. In fact, 2, that all-important 4th estate and indeed the legislature. So please give us your views with regards that going forward, and see you tomorrow. Thank you all for staying at home and staying safe. Good night.